Okay, let's dive right into this. Welcome to today's Explainer, where we're going to take a really comprehensive look at the future of independent work. We're actually condensing 5 whole years of top-rated, battle-tested freelancing experience from Asil Khan, a guy who literally went from 0 clients all the way to running a full agency, into a highly actionable step-by-step roadmap tailored specifically for 2026. So if you've been thinking about ditching the 9-to-5, spinning up a side hustle, or you just want a better grip on the modern digital economy, well, you are in exactly the right place. We're going to break down exactly how to build a high-value, scalable freelance career, completely eliminating all the guesswork.
And here is our literal map for the journey today. We'll start with the 2026 market, then choosing your freelance skill, nailing your portfolio and pricing, landing your first client, building your personal brand, and finally, scaling to an agency.
Starting off with Part 1, the 2026 market. Let's navigate the demand, the AI noise, and, the actual reality.
Right, so there's so much noise out there right now about market saturation and AI stealing everyone's jobs, right? And it creates this incredibly dangerous dilemma for beginners. The expectation, we've all seen the ads, is overnight success. Working from a beach, making steady, passive money from day one. But the reality? Your income's going to fluctuate. You will face rejections. And being your own boss actually means you're the sales department, the accountant, and the project manager all rolled into one. Those first 6 months, they are literally just for putting your head down and doing the hard work without expecting some immediate massive payday. It is a grind, for sure, but it's an incredibly rewarding one if you set those expectations straight from the get-go.
And this brilliantly illustrates why putting in that hard work is absolutely worth it. Look at this growth. We're going from $7.3 billion in 2024 to a projected $16.5 billion by 2029. That's massive. Companies are actively cutting bloated full-time teams in favor of flexible, highly specialized freelance talent. They want the experts, but without the long-term salary commitments, right? So the demand isn't shrinking at all. It's practically exploding.
Actually, to put that into perspective, 38% of the entire U.S. workforce did some form of freelancing last year. That is a massive chunk of the economy. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but what about AI? Isn't AI just going to do all this work anyway? Well, not exactly. Yes, AI is going to automate basic manual tasks, like simple photo cropping or generating some basic code. But the demand for unique human creativity, strategic thinking, and actual client management, that is incredibly real, and it's growing. AI is basically a tool to speed up your workflow. It's not your replacement as long as you're providing real, tangible value.
Which brings us to Section 2, choosing your freelance skill. It's time to build the foundation.
Okay, so to tap into this massive market, you really have to narrow down your focus to a single high-value skill. And to do this without getting completely overwhelmed, we use this 30-day action plan. It creates this structured forward momentum, which is absolutely crucial. Week 1, you just pick a niche and learn the absolute fundamentals. Week 2, you're going to build a couple of clean sample pieces for your portfolio. Week 3 is strictly just setting up your online profiles on places like Fiverr and Upwork. And Week 4, that's dedicated to outreach and hunting for that first client. Breaking it down week by week totally prevents that paralyzing feeling of, oh my gosh, I have to do everything today.
Now, during week 1 of that plan, I want you to lean heavily on the Pareto principle. Focus strictly on the 20% of core basics that are going to generate 80% of your results. Seriously, please do not waste your time trying to learn crazy advanced visual effects or, complex coding tricks right out of the gate. Learn just enough of the core tools to create real, functional work that actually solves a problem for a client.
Moving on to Section 3. Your portfolio and pricing. Let's talk about positioning yourself to win.
So once you actually have a skill, how do you present it professionally? A huge, and I mean huge, beginner mistake is dumping a bunch of random files into a messy Google Drive link. It just screams amateur. Setting up a clean, simple portfolio website immediately makes you stand out from the crowd. So the crucial point here is figuring out your unique selling proposition, or USP. Basically, why should a client choose you over the millions of other people online? When Asil Khan started, his USP was incredibly simple: low prices, fast turnaround, and unlimited revisions. He literally started out doing projects for just $5. Now, was his work only worth $5? No way. But his goal wasn't instant wealth. It was to farm those initial reviews, build credibility, and gather real testimonials. In those early days, you were essentially buying a reputation.
And when you do set your prices, you've got to structure them clearly. Don't just tell people, hey, I edit videos. You need to specify the skill. So, Adobe Premiere. The service, YouTube video editing. And the exact details, like a 1-minute edit with motion graphics and subtitles, priced at $80, delivered in exactly 2 days with 5 revisions. Do you see how breaking down your offer like that removes literally all confusion for the buyer? And keep in mind, as your demand grows and those 5-star reviews start rolling in, you can slowly bump your rates up by 10 to 20% at a time.
All right, Section 4, landing your first client. Going from zero experience to actually getting paid. Okay, so you've got the skill, the portfolio's looking good, and your pricing is set. Now you just need someone to actually pay you. And let's be honest, this is usually the most intimidating barrier for new freelancers. But also offers some incredibly counterintuitive advice here. He says, if you have zero experience, working under someone even for free will save you months of struggling. Think about it. If you have literally never worked with a client before, doing a short stint as an intern or helping out a local business for free teaches you real-world workflows, how to handle actual deadlines, and how to communicate like a professional. You will learn more in 1 month of doing real work for free than you will in 6 months of just binge-watching YouTube tutorials. Now, once you are ready to start charging, here are your acquisition strategies. You can absolutely pitch local businesses right in your own neighborhood, walk right into cafes, gyms, or real estate offices. You could send out cold DMs on Instagram or LinkedIn, but honestly, the absolute best strategy for a beginner is to optimize inbound profiles on platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. You really want to focus purely on these platforms for your first 90 days. Why? Because the platform handles all the marketing, the payment processing, and all the heavy lifting for you. They bring high volumes of traffic right to your digital doorstep.
Section 5. Building your personal brand. Securing your long-term income.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is what happens once you have some clients under your belt. You really have to shift to a mid-game strategy. The top 10% of earners, they don't just rely on freelance platforms forever. They build an undeniable reputation. If you rely entirely on a platform's algorithm, you're incredibly vulnerable. Literally one algorithm update, an account suspension, or just a random slow season, and your income can crash to zero overnight. Building a personal brand, sharing your work on social media, having your own polished website, talking about your process, that is your ultimate safety net. It builds immense trust, it allows you to command much higher premium prices, and it generates inbound leads completely independently of any platform's rules.
Finally, Section 6, scaling to an agency. Working smarter, not harder.
Look, as a solo freelancer, you are eventually going to hit a ceiling. There are only so many hours in the day, right? So to scale up without burning out completely, you have to implement standard systems. I'm talking about using tools like Trello, standardizing your checklists, setting up email templates, basically things that replace the daily chaos of your business. And you scale your workload not by taking on a million cheap projects, but by systematically increasing your prices and outsourcing those minor tasks. The real game changer here, though, is transitioning to monthly retainer clients. When a client pays you a set fee every single month, it brings massive stability. Asil actually notes that securing retainer clients can eventually make up 50% or more of your reliable recurring revenue. And once you hit that point, you can start adding multiple income streams like consulting or selling digital products.
Let's move to the macro view and see how this all builds across a typical 5-year timeline. Because freelancing is a realistic, long-term business model, not some quick hustle. Year 1 is just your foundation. You're learning, you're making plenty of mistakes, and you're landing those first crucial clients. By year 3, you hit the growth phase. This is where your systems lock in, your retainers stabilize, and your prices go up. And by year 5, you hit authority status. This is where you might be running a full-blown agency, charging premium rates, and benefiting from multiple income streams. It's a proven, realistic trajectory.
But here's the catch. To get to year 5, you have to start day 1. Just watching this explainer isn't going to change your life or your income. The blueprint is right here in front of you. So the question is, Are you ready to take that crucial first step and launch your 30-day action plan today? The opportunity in the 2026 market is out there waiting for you, but you have to be the one to do the work. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. Now go build that foundation.